Okay, we're covering the selection tools sheet. Start with deselect. So let's select something first. So we'll go to our first selection tool on the notes, lasso tools. Lasso tools, you will either see the regular lasso tool, the polygonal, or the magnetic. All have the same shortcut of L. So I want to start with the regular lasso tool, which I don't see. I'm pressing L over and over, but it's not going there because there's 3 tools with the same shortcut. For me to be able to toggle there, I have to hold Shift and click. While I hold Shift and click, it lets me go from one tool to the other. I'm on the regular lasso tool now. It is a free-form selection tool. I can draw whatever shape I need or want. And you see the blinking lines or marching ants. For lasso tool in your notes, it's just a free-form tool, so you can select any area, any shape. Now, to deselect, going back to the top of your notes, Command D, the selection went away. I'm going to undo that with Command Z. Or you could go to the top where it says select and down to deselect. Both do the same thing. Select, deselect, or Command D. And you should be writing that up here in your notes. Okay, next selection tool, I'll do Shift L. We're now at our polygonal lasso tool. This one is going to select with areas that are flat or straight segments. That's a better way to put it. So click, 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 click. Whatever kind of selection you need that would require these sort of straight edges, but in any shape you need. So polygonal, it's a selection tool for areas with straight edges. And deselect, Command D, and last but not least, your magnetic lasso. Magnetic lasso really means magnetic. It is going to attach itself to areas of high contrast. So next to magnetic, it's a selection tool that attaches to areas of high contrast. What does it look like? We're going to jump to this photo of grapes, or actually I think it's really an illustration, but we are going to click and drag along the outside of the grapes because there is high contrast between the color of the grapes and the white background. And then we're going to move inside to see what happens. So actually we could start on this side. I'm just going to click and drag. And I am not clicking anymore. I'm simply dragging the mouse and it is attaching itself to areas of contrast, high contrast. So the reds, the blues, the purples, that's all high contrast next to white. But now I want to come in and move along the edge of the grape, and it's a little confused between the red of the grape above and the blue of the grape below. It's not quite sure where to attach. So if you find your mouse is having trouble figuring it out, you can help it by clicking. I'm simply clicking to get through the muddy area. And I'm going to try to bring myself back out to an area of high contrast. Now I'm moving freely again, and the tool is attaching itself. And of course, I'm just going to zip around the top to go back to the rest. There we go. We've just made a selection with the magnetic lasso, attaching itself to areas of high contrast and having me force it through areas that don't have contrast by clicking. Okay, let's deselect that. We're going to jump back over to this screen. Your marquee tools. We're really covering just 2 of them. You have rectangular marquee, shortcut M, elliptical marquee, shortcut M. Both the same, so again, Shift M lets you toggle through. The rectangular marquee lets you get a rectangular selection, a square selection, and your elliptical marquee, circular, oval, round, whatever you pull out. Okay. Magic wand. Magic wand. So we're going to click and we see quick selection tool, and we see the magic wand tool. Magic wand selects all like color pixels or similar. Now, what does all of that mean? So with your magic wand, you see up here in options, of course, again, depending on your tool, there's different options. With magic wand, you have something called tolerance. Tolerance helps you target how many levels closest to the color you click on will be selected. So the lower the number, let's go to 10. The lower the number, the more targeted the color. Let's click in this grape. Okay, with a tolerance of 10, and where I clicked, I got approximately 10 levels of color here. As I zoom in, it starts to pixelate. Let's change that. Let me deselect. Let's go to 50. Look at this, much larger area of selection. So for tolerance, you want to put the number that you select for tolerance helps you to target that many levels of color. So the lower the number, the more specific the color selection. The larger the number, the broader the selection of color. Okay, let's zoom back out and deselect. Quick selection tool. It makes a selection following edges. Let's come over here to quick selection. Okay, so I'm just going to click and drag, and notice it is doing a quick selection. It's not exact because it is grabbing a little bit of white in there. So if I only wanted the grapes, I'd have to do a little cleanup, but you simply click and drag and it will select along the edge. Okay, let's deselect. Crop. Your crop tool, that is this, it looks like a square but has a little line sticking out on the corner. The cropping tool, it's given me a bracket here. It lets me, it lets me click on a corner to drag it in. It lets me click inside the edge to drag it in. But whatever area you surround with the cropping tool, that's all that will be left once you actually finalize the crop. Now, you can come up to the top and either, in options, and either accept it with the check or cancel it with the circle and the line through it, or you can press return on your keyboard. So what I've done is I've removed all the outer edges. I've cropped it. Command Z, I'm undoing it because I don't want to get rid of my edges. Magic wand. Let's see. Move tool. Okay, so I'm going to make a quick selection. Just copy, Command C, paste, Command V. Notice in my layers here, if I turn the original off, I had made an elliptical selection and copy and pasted, so it took a piece to a new layer. Just so I can demonstrate the move tool. Up here, top, move tool, shortcut V. Now, I have mine set to auto select, so I can simply click and drag it to a new position. If you don't have auto select on and you have multiple layers, you have to make sure, notice I've just selected the original right now. If I click, let me unlock that layer. Okay. If I click on this circle thinking I am going to move it, it only moves whatever is selected in layers. So you want to keep auto select turned on so that whatever you click on, that layer is selected. So I can click and move it. All right. Sometimes you'll turn it off because it's too confusing. You're clicking on the wrong things. But generally speaking, if you want to be able to move around the screen, when you use your move tool, keep auto select on. Okay. Next, transform. Scale. Okay. So first of all, for transform, you could transform. I'm going to, so we can see this easily. Command T. is the shortcut for transform. Okay, you get handles along the edge and in the corners. You can click and drag to resize. You can accept with the check, or you can cancel with the circle and the line. To accept, you can also simply press return. Okay, that's your shortcut. While this is selected, I can also go to edit, transform. Now, Command T, you see here, Command T, that was free transform. You can target your transform by having something selected, come to transform, go to scale. Scale is resizing. So again, you get that box just like before. Okay? Perhaps, though, you want to rotate. So when you select rotate, you get that curved arrow. So now you can click and drag to move it in a circular pattern to rotate. You can also skew. Now what the heck is skew? Look at that. I can click a corner without it impacting another corner and do what's called skewing. Actually, let's turn that off. Let's come back here. It's a little easier to see if I use a square or rectangle. So I'm going to copy paste real quick, turn that off. Okay, and I have this layer selected. So let's go back to skew. I have my move tool selected and skew. Okay, so if I wanted to try to create perspective with something looking further away, of course, do you see how the mouse is getting that back, that arrow that goes left and right? Look at this. Look at that. So they're receding. You could also, let me just cancel that for a minute. You can also go to transform and distort. You should really come in and play with these tools so you can see. Look at that. It starts to make it look like it's folding over. Again, let's don't keep the change. And perspective. Look at that. Now we're really getting something receding into... Well, let me do that one though. Oh, look at that. Receding into the background. So play with all of your transform. Accept, don't accept. That's going to be up to you. I'll keep that one. And that is it for selection tools at the moment.